Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered what kind of water is suitable for growing orchids? Some people think that tap water should be okay. Flower lovers who know something about orchids may think that rainwater is ideal. Yes, rain can be really good, but clean rainwater is not readily available, and in most cases, we have to choose other sources of water. The quality of water is very important for growing orchids well. As a human, we usually drink filtered water or buy pure water from the store. If you drink tap water directly in some places, you may suffer from stomach pain or heavy metal poisoning. For example, 6 years ago, in a place called Flint in Michigan, United States, the heavy metal lead content in the tap water exceeded the standard, resulting in 12 deaths. Just like us humans, plants also have special requirements for water quality. So in this video, let's delve into the water quality that is suitable for growing orchids. Whether you are a novice just about to grow your first orchid, or a flower lover who already has some experience, I believe that this video will be helpful to you. If you enjoy this video, please thumbs up, leave a message, and share it with your friends. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. In the future, we will have more wonderful free videos about various plants and flowers. There are many sources of water. Tap water is commonly used in our homes. Some houses will install filtration systems or reverse osmosis systems. Well water, stream water, rainwater, and snow water, water from melting snow, are from nature. Distilled water, mineral water, and purified water are sold in supermarkets. Whatever water it is, there are two criteria which must be met to grow orchids. The first is the acidity or alkalinity of the water, also known as pH. The pH range runs from 0 to 14. A pH of 7 indicates neutrality. Less than 7 is acidic, and greater than 7 is alkaline. For example, the pH of the human body is 7.4, which is considered neutral. Some plants like hydrangeas, blueberries, and azaleas prefer acidic soil. Other plants such as lilacs and lavender prefer alkaline soil. The other criteria is the total amount of dissolved solids in the water, which is related to what we usually call hard water or soft water. We use ppm to represent this. It means parts per million. If the mineral content in the water is high, the ppm value will also be high. Conversely, filtered or distilled water has a very low ppm. Now let's talk about how to detect and control the pH and ppm of water. If the pH of the water is too high or too low, it will not be conducive to the orchid's absorption of nutrients. Sometimes, even if we fertilize regularly, if the pH is not correct, then the nutrients cannot be absorbed, and the orchid will not grow well. Most orchids, that is, those that grow attached to large trees, like to be slightly acidic, and the suitable pH range for growth is between 5.5 and 6.5. In the native environment, orchids that grow on limestone rocks due to the influence of calcium carbonate like to be alkaline, and the ideal pH range is between 7 and 7.9. This group includes many sleeper orchids. Let me show you how to measure the pH of water. We will take a look at the pH of rainwater, tap water, filtered water, and supermarket purchased distilled water. Flower lovers can buy pH meters or pH test strips online, and I got this for about $20. We will first use this yellow pH meter to check the pH of the water. When the pH meter was first sent, it was calibrated and can be used directly according to the instructions. I have been using this for a while and it's a little inaccurate. I will take this opportunity to show you how to calibrate a pH meter. The pH meter was shipped with 3 bags of powdered buffer for calibration. Before starting, we need to prepare distilled water. Distilled water is very pure water and basically does not contain any impurities. Distilled water can be purchased from supermarkets. We also need 3 glasses, which should be cleaned and rinsed 3 or 4 times with distilled water to ensure that the glasses do not contain any residue. My glass is a bit small here, and I start by using a large clean beaker to mix up the solution. We first prepare the standard buffer with pH equals 4. Open the bag and pour all the chemicals into the glass. Then add 250 milliliters of distilled water. Here I use a graduated 50 ml centrifuge tube to measure the volume of water that I need. You can buy some measuring cylinders online or use a volumetric flask to make this solution. We can spin the glass to facilitate the dissolution of solids. After the white substance is completely dissolved, a part can be poured out to calibrate the pH meter, and the rest can be sealed and stored in a cool environment. Because I used the same beaker to formulate different buffers, when mixing new buffers, I rinse the beaker with tap water and then distilled water beforehand. I rinse with distilled water at least 3 times. If the beaker is not cleaned properly, it will affect the pH of the standard buffer and thus the calibration of the pH meter. After we have configured the 3 buffers, we can perform the calibration. Rinse the pH meter 3 times with distilled water before use. And insert the clean pH meter into the standard buffer of pH equals 4. After the displayed value is stable, press and hold the calibration button, and the displayed value will jump after a while. Then release your hand, wait for a while, and the calibration is complete. The value displayed by the calibrated pH meter should be the same as the pH value of the standard buffer. Here, my pH is 4.01 after calibration, which is very close to 4.0. After calibration, we rinse 3 times with distilled water. After rinsing, you can use a clean tissue to absorb excess moisture around the probe. We then calibrate with the standard buffer of pH 6.86. After calibration, rinse again. Finally, calibrate with the standard buffer of pH 9.18. After the final calibration, we rinse the pH meter with distilled water and close the lid. I used this calibrated pH meter to detect the pH of various water samples. At that time, the camera was automatically turned off, and this part of the video was not shot. Here, I will discuss their pH. The pH of distilled water is 5.6. Rainwater is 6.3. Filtered water is 6.9. And tap water is 7.3. Next, I will use pH test strips to take measurements and compare them with the pH meter I had used before. We put the pH test strip into the water, soak it, and take it out. Before the water on the test strip is dry, compare the color with the reference and read the pH value. I used 2 pH test strips. One has a wide measurement range and can detect pH between 0 and 14, but the accuracy is low. Another pH test paper is accurate to 1 decimal place, but the measurement range is between 4.5 and 9. The one on the left is the pH test paper of 4 different sources of water I tested, and the one on the right is the standard reference. We compare these colors to judge the pH value. The value measured by this test paper is similar. I think it is between 6 and 7, although we cannot know the exact pH value. The color measured by this test paper is also the same. The color is compared with the standard, and the value is lower than 6.5. This test paper is not accurate at all. I feel like the quality of this test paper is worse than the previous one. Although pH test strips are easy to use, its accuracy is not high, and some products are not accurate at all. Therefore, it is recommended that you use a pH meter to measure the pH of the water. If the value is found to be inaccurate when using a pH meter, a standard buffer solution needs to be configured for calibration. This formulated buffer can be stored for a long time and can be used repeatedly. For water with a higher pH, we can add a few drops of lemon juice, adjusting the pH to between 5.5 and 6.5, and then use it to water the orchid. Most orchids prefer this pH range. The amount of dissolved substances in the water is another factor which affects the growth of orchids. If the water is too hard, which means it has a high ppm, it can lead to a lot of inconvenience. Hard water can dry out your skin, dry out your hair, and leave a white crust on your cookware. Watering flowers with hard water can cause salts to build up in the soil over time. Sometimes a white crust will form on the leaves and roots of the plant, which hampers the photosynthesis and nutrient absorption of the affected plant. Before watering your orchids, we can measure the ppm of our water with this blue instrument. We first measure distilled water, and after the value is stable, you press the hold button to read the value. The ppm of this distilled water is 2, which is particularly low. Distilled water itself is pure and has no minerals, as it is condensed from pure steam. Now let's detect rainwater. We rinse our probe with distilled water, absorb excess water with tissue paper and insert it into the rainwater. Do this between each sample. The ppm of rainwater is 11. Next is the filtered water. The ppm of filtered water is 37. Let's measure the tap water. The ppm of tap water is actually 43. I really cannot believe it because I tested it once before and the tap water was around 130 ppm. Unexpectedly, the quality of tap water has improved recently. The tap water here is really good. I went to a friend's house this morning and helped them measure the water quality. They are only about 20 minutes drive from my house. The stream near their home is 200 ppm. Tap water is 190. Filtered water is 170. All high overall. The water we use for orchids should be kept within 100 ppm. If you live where the tap water is hard, you can water your orchids after diluting it with distilled water. Now let's have a summary of the key points we discussed. The pH to grow most orchids is between 5.5 and 6.5. The pH of rainwater is around 6.3. As long as we control the pH around 6.3, close to rain, it works for almost all orchids. For some sleeper orchids prefer a higher pH, we can add some little stones to the potting mix in order to adjust the pH. The content of minerals in water should be less than 100 ppm. The ppm of rainwater is 11 ppm. If you usually use water with higher mineral content, you can rinse the whole pot with distilled water once a month to prevent excessive minerals from accumulating on the leaves, roots, and the potting mix of the orchid. It is best not to use tap water to water orchids directly, because chlorine gas and heavy metals in tap water will harm the growth of your orchids. If you have a filter at home, you can use filtered water. If you have to use tap water, you must leave the tap water for a day or two in advance, and then water the orchid after the chlorine has evaporated. No matter what water you use, please check the pH and the ppm before use. If the pH is too high, you can add lemon juice drop by drop to adjust the pH to between 5.5 and 6.5. If the ppm is too high, it can be diluted with distilled water until the ppm is below 100. If you have been watering orchids with distilled water, you should pay attention to regular fertilization because the distilled water lacks calcium ions, manganese ions, etc., which are necessary for plant growth. Some orchid fertilizers will lower the pH of the water. If the pH is too low, we can use oyster shells or lime to raise the pH of the water. Once fertilizer is mixed in, the ppm can reach 700 or even 900. Don't worry about this because we fertilize. The content of dissolved substances in the water will definitely be high. We just need to make sure that the ppm of the water we usually use is less than 100. This video contains a lot of knowledge and experimental operations. I think people should never stop learning. If you want to grow an orchid well, make it produce beautiful flowers, then we must overcome all kinds of difficulties and keep learning. You can bookmark this video, and when you need it, watch it again and again. It will definitely be helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a message below. If you find this video useful, please thumbs up and share with your friends. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and see you next time.